What if the people you trust the most aren't really your friends? What if, after all these years, someone you've shared meals with, spent holidays with, or even leaned on in hard times, isn't as genuine as you thought? After 70, life becomes more precious than ever. Every conversation, every connection, every moment of peace matters. And the people you allow into your circle, they matter even more. But here's something no one talks about enough. Some people stay in our lives not because they care, but because they get something out of being there. Sometimes it's subtle. Other times, it's so clear you wonder how you missed the signs for so long. But the truth is, spotting fake friends after 70 can be more difficult than ever. Why? Because we assume that at this age, people are past playing games. We want to believe that those still around are loyal, kind, and true. Unfortunately, that's not always the case. Today, we're going to talk about how to spot fake friends after 70. Not from a place of bitterness, but from wisdom, from lived experience, from the understanding that real friendship is a treasure and fake friendship, a trap. And if you've ever felt used, dismissed, or emotionally drained after spending time with someone, this video may offer you the clarity you've been needing. So take a breath, get comfortable, and stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll have 6 powerful ways to identify who truly belongs in your life and who may be quietly holding you back. These aren't just red flags, they're reflections of deeper truths that can protect your peace, your happiness, and even your health. Let's begin. Number 1. The friend who competes instead of supports. Friendship is supposed to feel like a safe harbor, a place where we can be ourselves without fear of judgment, envy, or comparison. But sometimes, what looks like a friend is really a competitor in disguise. You mention a new hobby, and they quickly one-up you. You share good news about your grandkids or a recent trip, and somehow the conversation turns to how their family is better, busier, or more accomplished. At first, it might feel harmless, just little comments here and there. But over time, something strange begins to happen. You stop sharing as much. You start editing yourself. You feel like you're being watched, measured, maybe even subtly put down. And the joy you once had in being open disappears. Let me tell you about June. She's 74, loves painting, and recently joined a local art group. She made a new friend there named Carol, same age, sharp as a tack, always dressed to the nines. They hit it off at first, but something felt off. Every time June mentioned a painting she was proud of, Carol would nod, smile, then casually mention how her own piece got more compliments. When June sold her first canvas, Carol said, "That's great, for a beginner." It took months for June to realize that being around Carol didn't lift her up. It made her second-guess herself. It drained her energy. And that's the first red flag of a fake friend. They compete with you, instead of celebrating you. They can't handle your joy unless they're part of it. And if they feel like you're doing better in any way, they'll find a subtle way to bring the spotlight back to them. Real friends, they cheer loudly. They don't see your happiness as a threat. They see it as a reason to smile. Number 2. The friend who only shows up when they need something. We all want to be there for our friends. That's what friendship is, mutual support. But have you noticed someone who seems to disappear until they need a favor? Someone who's too busy to return your call, but quick to ask if you can watch their dog, lend them a little money, or drive them to the doctor. That's not friendship. That's convenience. 72 years old Janet knows exactly how that feels. She had a friend, Denise, who she'd known since their children were little. They'd reconnected in their 60s, and for a while, things were good. But soon, Janet began to notice a pattern. Denise rarely called just to chat. There was always an agenda. Can you help me with this form? Can I borrow your car? Can I stay over for a few days while my place gets fumigated? At first, Janet felt needed, useful, but eventually, she realized the connection was one-sided. When she needed help moving a heavy dresser or just someone to talk to after a rough doctor's visit, Denise was suddenly unavailable. The friendship only flowed in one direction, and it left Janet feeling empty and unimportant. That's the second red flag, when someone's presence in your life is determined by their needs, not yours. They're not showing up for you, they're showing up for themselves. And while it's natural for friends to lean on each other now and then, when that becomes the entire relationship, it's time to reevaluate. You deserve mutual care, mutual kindness, not to be someone's personal lifeline while they remain emotionally absent. Number 3, the friend who subtly tears you down. Criticism dressed as just being honest is one of the most toxic traits a fake friend can have. These are the people who say things like, "Don't take this the wrong way," or "I'm just telling you because I care." But what follows is rarely kind. It's rarely helpful. And it usually leaves you feeling smaller, not stronger. This kind of fake friend doesn't openly insult you. That would be too obvious. Instead, they chip away at your confidence, one small comment at a time. Maybe they make jokes about your memory. Maybe they suggest you're too old to start something new. Maybe they act concerned when you wear a new outfit, saying, "You sure you're comfortable showing your arms at our age?" Their words may be wrapped in politeness, but their intention is clear. They don't want you to grow. They want you to shrink. Take Leonard, 81, a retired music teacher who had always dreamed of learning digital piano. He finally bought one and signed up for a beginner class. But his old friend, Frank, chuckled and said, "Really? You think at your age your fingers can keep up with that tech stuff?" Leonard laughed it off, but inside, he felt a familiar sting. The next time class rolled around, he almost didn't go. That's the damage of subtle sabotage. It doesn't come from strangers. It comes from those close to us, those we trust. But make no mistake, if someone constantly makes you feel like your age is a limitation, they're not on your side. Real friends uplift. They may offer truth, but they deliver it with love, timing, and genuine care. Not as a way to feel superior. Not to keep you in your place, but to help you shine. It might not be loud. In fact, it's often quiet and subtle. You share good news, a health milestone, a family celebration, a new romantic connection, and instead of joy, you get a tight-lipped smile. Maybe they change the subject. Maybe they downplay your happiness. Or worse, they find a way to make it about them. Well, I guess that's nice for you. Some of us are still waiting for our kids to call. For many older adults, joy becomes sacred. It's not as loud or flashy as it once was, but it's more meaningful. And when you find yourself holding back your happiness around someone, when you fear that sharing good news might cause tension or distance, that's a major sign that something's wrong. A friend named Sam, age 76, knows this well. After years of living alone, he met someone, a woman he met through a walking club. He hadn't felt that kind of spark in years. When he told his longtime friend Larry, expecting encouragement, he got something else. Larry raised an eyebrow and said, "A girlfriend at your age? Isn't that a little desperate?" Sam felt crushed. Not because he needed Larry's approval, but because he expected Larry's support. That's what fake friends can take from us. Not our accomplishments, but the joy we feel in them. And that's not something you should ever have to hide. A real friend doesn't just sit beside you when you're hurting. They stand beside you when you're shining. And if someone can't handle your happiness, they don't deserve a front row seat in your life. Number 5, the friend who talks about you, not to you. There's a special kind of betrayal that comes when someone smiles to your face and gossips behind your back. And the older we get, the less tolerance we should have for it. If you've ever heard a friend repeated something you told them in confidence, or worse, twisted your words, you've already experienced one of the clearest red flags of all, disloyalty. It's especially painful at this stage in life. After 70, our circles tend to grow smaller. We become more selective, more intentional. So when someone you've trusted uses your name in a way that feels dirty, dramatic, or dismissive, it stings deeper. Let's talk about Teresa, 82, who had been friends with a neighbor named Ellen for nearly 2 decades. They'd watched each other's pets, brought soup during colds, even spent holidays together. But one afternoon, at a community luncheon, Teresa overheard someone say, Ellen told us you were having trouble remembering things lately. Are you all right? Teresa was stunned. She had shared a few offhand moments of forgetfulness with Ellen in private. Nothing serious, just the usual occasional, "Where did I put my glasses?" kind of thing. But Ellen had spun it into something else. A conversation starter. A whispered concern. And in that moment, something broke. That's the damage fake friends can do. Not just to your reputation, but to your sense of emotional safety. They make you second-guess what's okay to share. They make your life feel like a rumor instead of a relationship. And they'll often defend themselves by saying, "I was just worried," or "I didn't say it like that." But trust, once fractured, rarely returns unchanged. If someone talks about you behind your back instead of coming to you with compassion, they're not your friend. They're a spectator in your life, watching, commenting, and stepping over boundaries they should have respected. A real friend protects your name when you're not in the room. They treat your vulnerabilities with reverence, not with gossip. Number 6, the friend who makes you feel lonely while you're with them. Here's a red flag that's both subtle and devastating. The friend who makes you feel alone, even when you're sitting right beside them. It's an odd feeling. You're sharing the same space, maybe even the same meal, but somehow you feel invisible, disconnected, unheard. It's not about silence. Silence can be comforting when you're with someone who sees you, respects you, and shares space in a gentle way. No, this is different. It's emotional absence. It's the feeling that if you stop talking, they wouldn't even notice. This kind of fake friend is often so caught up in their own world that they don't really care to understand yours. They might talk endlessly about their own problems, but when it's your turn, they glance at their watch, or they scroll through their phone, or they offer shallow nods without real engagement. Harold, 79, told me about an old fishing buddy who'd become just that. Over the years, their outings turned from mutual catch-ups to monologues. Harold became the background character in someone else's life story. One day, halfway through a boat ride, Harold realized he hadn't spoken in over 20 minutes. His friend didn't notice, and that was the last time he went fishing with him. The final red flag of a fake friend isn't always cruelty. It's indifference. It's apathy. It's the quiet message that says, "You don't matter enough to truly be seen." After 70, none of us have time for that. We've earned the right to be surrounded by people who listen, who see, who care. People who share silence with meaning and conversation with joy. If someone makes you feel lonelier in their presence than you feel when you're alone, it's time to reconsider their place in your life. So where does this leave us? After 6 powerful red flags, it might be tempting to feel discouraged, to look around and wonder, who can I really trust? But here's the truth. The purpose of spotting fake friends isn't to make you suspicious. It's to make you wise. Because wisdom, especially the kind forged after decades of living, is the greatest gift we can give ourselves. By learning to spot the signs, you protect your peace. You make room for the real ones, the people who show up, who celebrate you, who hold your story with care and speak your name with respect. The friends who may be few, but are enough. And if this video stirred something in you, if a name or a memory came to mind, that's okay. It doesn't mean you have to burn bridges. It just means you're waking up to the kind of love, respect, and connection you truly deserve. Because your time is too valuable to spend it feeling small. Your energy is too precious to waste it on people who drain it. And your heart, your beautiful, seasoned, resilient heart, is far too full of life to be surrounded by anything less than authentic friendship. So here's your invitation. Start pruning your circle, not out of anger, but out of love. Make space for laughter, for ease, for people who want to walk with you, not use you. You've made it this far with strength. Now, make sure the people walking with you bring peace, not poison. And always remember, you are not alone. The right people exist. The right friends are out there. And the more you honor your worth, the more those people will find their way to you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for honoring your journey. And thank you for trusting your heart enough to ask the hard questions. If this message resonated with you, I invite you to share it. Maybe someone in your circle needs it too. And as always, stay wise, stay kind, and above all, stay true to yourself.